physical they were and getting to the ball.
Yeah, and it wasn't our style of play, and the thing I've always will tell them, the first thing is they reflect us as coaches. Okay, so it's all together, and we went through all of it, and they know who they are, and they know how we have to play, and so I believe we're going to really respond well.
What contributed to all the missed tackles, and how many did you count?
I'm trying to remember right now, but it was 12 to 15 in that vicinity. I can't remember, but a lot of times it was angles and space, overshooting the ball, everything that's correctable, and a big part of it's mindset, intensity. That's how we play. And usually, if one guy misses, there's somebody else there, and we didn't as coaches and players, we didn't have the pursuit that we've had all year, and that's a big part of, you don't see, wow, how many missed, you don't see it because the next pop out. Mm-hmm. So they understand that, we understand that, and it's a given. You have to go out and work for it and practice.
Well, you strive to never have a game like that as a group or accept it. Have you found that over the course of a season it's so demanding and what you demand on each play, the level of effort, that it is hard to sustain? That I guess, has every defensive team you've been on had a game similar to this the other day?
I know what you're saying. I just don't accept it.
Okay.
I'll never accept it. And I think if you play that snap, that you forget everything, I'll play that snap. And then play that snap. And I think you get yourself back into a groove. And it's just that real toughness that people have, that mental toughness. And I think that brings you back.
Coach, it was my understanding that Sean Lee went to you and said, and to the rest of the coaches, and said, Leighton and Jalen have really come on. I don't want to disrupt their progress.
He didn't say it to me, but I think he did say it to somebody. But, we know what he is, right? He is unbelievable. And we just got...
What do you say about him as a player?
Oh, as a player, but also as a real man. It's something special, because this guy truly cares about winning, and he's getting himself back, and he's getting in that groove. And he's always got in that mindset that thing's going to pull. But he's working. He had a good day today out there, concentrating. He just wants this team to be successful. Like I think every guy in here is not about the individual. Hopefully, there's some of it. You have to be in this thing, but hopefully we're geared into winning.
How do you think DeMarcus has responded to playing on the franchise tag?
You know what? And I actually told him the other day with this, to get voted into the Pro Bowl, okay? And I thought they did a great job of the voting, because he had 8.5 sacks and there are other guys that had more. It's how he played, how he plays. That's the most important thing to me. From the run to the hustle you never see him take a down off in the rush. If you just put a reel of all his really good rushes, he might lead the league in good rushes. Balls out, we can't do anything with that. But how many times he's beaten a guy, and his quickness of beating, and his second effort. I think it's one of the best guys I've ever been around with the franchise tag, ever. How he's come out and worked. Some guys, we're going to get here, we're in pads today. He comes out and works. I think that's a real pro football player. Couldn't be more proud of him.
Sorry to cut you off. In terms of personality, he seems to have kind of a big one, the Hot Boys this year, and you see Leighton with the whole Wolf Hunter thing. Where does this defense rank in terms of personalities that you...
It's still a little bit low. The ones I had. Yeah, believe me. Okay.
This is tame.
It's when you are good and you carry, it's like I always say, it's kind of like gun smoke, right? There's two guys walk on the street, who's got the fastest draw? You better have some swagger. If your hand gets a little shaky, it doesn't come out of the holster very fast. So it's that look, that, however you're doing a sword fight, whatever it is, you gotta have a certain swagger to you.
Your defense is coming off a subpar game. The defense has carried this team at times. Do you think the defense first team can win a title in this day and age in the NFL?
What I believe with them, that this week, we have to. Okay, this week that's coming, because that's the only one we're playing. It's the most important game of the year because we're in it. That's why it's important. We're playing in it. And it's about every man expectations. We have great expectations, and only way you meet expectations is through execution. And that's what we got to do. We got to execute. I like this group.
Matt Eberflus told me that he learned something from you when they took to Indianapolis, and that's the handing out of the loaves.
Oh, yeah.
So how many loaves did you hand out to your guys?
More than necessary. Yeah, we did. You can see it, right? You're watching the game, and it's just, that's why, though, a man, if you don't have that type of standard, okay, it'll keep going down, get worse. Yeah, it's the standard. Here's the standard. Meet our standard. These are our expectations, and they will. If they.
What were some of the things that were uncharacteristic to you that stood out in that game?
I thought the speed of how we played, missed tackling, and mental errors. We had more mental errors than we usually do, and up front we had some. So it's just the ability to concentrate, and no matter what the environment is, we don't change. The environment may change, we can't. Okay, and then sometimes you start to change, you got to refocus and get back in it. And hopefully you trust your training from training camp. And we didn't do well enough.
Would you anticipate that you'll...
Say again?
Would you anticipate Sean had 7 snaps last week? Now that he's been able to come back and work through another practice, they'll increase?
You hope so. And again, it's how he feels. That's the thing is that, that it's so much different. You can work, and then, but it's that burst in the game.
Yeah.
It is a gigantic. So hopefully it's just keep working, keep getting better as it goes.
What have you seen from Taco this week? Has he made some progress?
I think he's responding well.
What do you need to see from him to make him active again on Sundays?
Just keep responding. That's a good one.
Even during the game, Sean Lee was sort of sprinting on the sidelines, looking like he was ready to go in. As a coach, I know that you like the effort and the enthusiasm. What did that do for you as a coach to see that your guy,
That guy's, he paces everywhere. He's in the walkthroughs, he's pacing. He's hungry. he's pacing. Like I keep telling I've said it probably a couple of times now, but enjoy being around him as writers, interviewers. Enjoy it because it's special. It's really, really special. I come out at dinner at night. He's still up there watching tape.
Sounds like you're expecting him to hang it up soon, Coach.
Him? Yeah, no way. I'll lace his shoes up for him. I'll lace them up.
You talk about Byron Jones, a guy who has filled a lot of different roles for you, and kind of the whole jack of all trades, do what's best for team, but now that he's settled into a spot, can you talk about just what he's done with that, settling in, and how do you view him as a corner going forward?
Yeah, and and Chris and him together have just been, Chris, the belief Chris has had in him from day one. And he said, that's my type of guy, that's a length, that's a speed, the jumping. And he said, this guy's going to be a great corner. And I think that probably the thing that's most impressive to me and most impressive for the people who voted for the Pro Bowl is they might have actually watched tape instead of looking at a stat sheet. That's what he plays football really well. No picks and just locks down his man every week. That's pretty good. And I think players, I take my hat off to them as the voting process because they saw what kind of player he was. And I really appreciate it. I think they took the time to vote and get it right, at least in my mind.
Did that, I know you're not surprised, Byron's had a great season, but were you surprised, just given the way the Pro Bowl voting usually works, that worked out for him?
I kind of made that comment to you guys a couple weeks ago. Somebody asked me that, and I said if they just look at the stat sheet, probably won't get in. If they watch the tape, he'll be in.
Is there a moment, you talked about Chris having confidence in him from day one, going anytime between now and last January, where you just kind of saw it for yourself that, this guy might be a pretty good cornerback?
Yeah, early. Well, I'm sorry, really early. And you could just see it, what Chris was teaching it fit like a glove.
Tank hasn't had a sack the last 3 games. What's going on there? I know you played some teams that are really good at protecting the quarterback, but anything else? Does he need more help from the rest of the guys to maybe take some
I will
tension off
always
him?
do that. Everybody does. He's getting a lot of chips now. Last week they were not letting him get started, and it was a team that threw the ball out. So exactly, when the 4-man rush, when we're rushing 4, the guys that get the singles they got to produce. They have to in a 4-man rush. There's only sometimes you get 2-on-2s. If you can game it up, if they're chipping like that. So and then when we pressure, one thing you do pressure, you try to get the chips off those guys. But yeah, he's playing lights out.
What's the most difficult part about the Winston-Evans connection?
Which one now?
Jameis Winston and the wide receiver Mike Evans.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, Evans he's elite now, and somehow when he starts scrambling, he finds 13. I mean, he always finds that guy, and they do a great job. They got great chemistry. And he's a terrific quarterback, mobile guy in the pocket, and I think he's a winner. I mean, that guy just fights every down. We saw that played 4 years ago out there, and that last drive of the game he had was really a heck of a drive. It was 6-3 at that moment, and he created a great drive with his legs, with his arm. So we played him a couple of times, and he's a big-time competitor. Big time.
I apologize if you've been
Yeah.
active. Did you see tackling a problem?
Oh yeah.
And can you put your finger on after watching the film?
Oh yeah, it's just fundamentals. Yeah, fundamentals. And the other thing I said, usually we're sprinting to the ball harder as a unit. We didn't probably pursue as well as we have all year. Which, if you get a missed tackle, there's guys cleaning it up fast. And that's all part of what we do. One guy can miss. You got to help. You got to be there for your buddy. Next 3 or 4 guys got to get him down. So some individual tackling, some pursuit. That was uncharacteristic of us, but it is what it is. So we got to learn and move on.
Is that part of guys being tired?
No, there's nothing. No, didn't do it. Did not do it. That tired thing, no way. No.
I know you're always about takeaways, but Tampa turns the ball over more than anybody else in the league. So how important is it to exploit that this week?
Well, each week we come out, it's this week. It's this week. So the mindset is not what's happened, past, future, this week. And it's on our mind every day. We've got to go get them. To really take off as a defense, we have to get the ball consistently.
One more, guys. Thanks, Coach.
Okay, my pleasure, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you guys.